Everybody, welcome to episode 81 of Cameron Sports Podcast. It's your host here, Cameron Lindsay, back with another episode. Today's episode, I'm going to be doing my 2025 NFL Draft, Mock Draft 1.0. In this mock draft, I'm going to be doing no trades. This mock draft is based off what I believe each team should do in the draft in order for 1 to 32, or 32 teams, what I believe they should do based off their team needs, what I think will happen in free agency before the draft, what best available player. It's like I said, there's no trades. Now I'm gonna try to do 3 to 4 mock drafts, at least 3 leading up to the NFL draft in April, which will be April 24th. So it's a 3-day event. So this is the first round of the NFL draft. This is my mock draft 1.0. And yeah, let's get right into it. Now I got right here NFL.com 2025 draft order for round 1, the top 5 needs for all 32 teams. This is by Chad Reuter. He's a draft analyst. This is published on February 9th. So let's get right into it. First team that's on the clock are the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee Titans finished 3-14 during this past season. Their strength of schedule was a little bit over 500. Their biggest team needs are quarterback, receiver, defensive end, offensive tackle, and safety. Tennessee, like I said, they need a lot of team needs. Will Levis, their quarterback last year, like I said, he lacked accuracy according to Chad Reuter. Did not handle the pressure well. I haven't really been the biggest fan of Will Levis at all, especially coming out of Kentucky. I didn't really see all the hype. There's a reason he didn't go in the first round a couple years ago. They did give him a fair shot. He was a starting quarterback, but he did get benched during the regular season. And I think Tennessee really needs a quarterback. Now, I know some draft analysts believe they should probably go Abdul Carter or, my opinion, the best player in the draft, Travis Hunter. But, like I said, my mock draft is I believe this Tennessee Titans should do. And with the first pick in my 2025 mock draft 1.0, the Tennessee Titans select Shedeur Sanders, quarterback out of Colorado. The reason I'm going Shedeur with this pick is, my opinion, I believe Shedeur is the best quarterback in this draft. It's close between him and Cam Ward. Don't get me wrong. I love Cam Ward. I wouldn't be mad if Tennessee goes Cam Ward. But I think Shedeur is the best quarterback in this draft. Yeah, some people may not believe he has the biggest arm strength, but he's accurate. He's made good decisions with the ball. Over 30 touchdown passes, only 10 picks, over 3,000 yards. People said he couldn't do it at Jackson State. He did it. Then people said, he's at a FCS HBCU school. He comes to the worst. Even Gilly said it on Club Shay Shay. He comes to the worst FBS team in all of college football. Like, I don't think y'all understand that Colorado, before Deion got there, was the worst FBS team in college football. They had one win before Deion got there. So, Shedeur and them coming back. They won four games to Deion's first year. Then they jump all the way to 9 wins, and they're ranked in the top 25 of college football playoff rankings. They're ranked in the top 25. That's a huge jump. And they got the number 2 quarterback in the 2025 class to commit and sign to Colorado, Julian Lewis. He's committed and signed to Colorado. He's already there at Colorado. He signed, he committed, flipped from USC. And I think Shedeur, he has what it takes. He's Deion's son. He can handle the pressure. He's trained with Tom Brady. He's very accurate. He's good decision. He might not be the most athletic, but I think if Tennessee put him in the right position, they have Calvin Ridley. Treylon Burks, he hasn't worked out too much. If they can get him a few weapons, protect him, I think Shedeur will be fine. I think this would be a good pick. Especially dealing with C.J. Stroud in that division, this would be a great pick for the Tennessee Titans. My second pick in my NFL mock draft 2025, the Cleveland Browns select Travis Hunter, cornerback / receiver out of Colorado. Now this pick, I believe the Browns, based off of what their team needs here: edge, quarterback, offensive tackle, wide receiver, running back. Cool, yeah. Technically, corner is not a big deal, but you have Myles Garrett. This is the reason I'm going with this pick. Myles Garrett just demanded a trade. He doesn't want to rebuild, and the way the Browns are looking, Deshaun Watson's going to be out next year. Even with him not being out next year, he hasn't played the best football at all since he's been in Cleveland. Travis Hunter plays both sides of the ball. If you don't, me personally, I do think the Cleveland Browns should go quarterback, but the reason is I believe they're going to try to get Sam Darnold, either Sam Darnold, Kirk Cousins, one of them two, maybe possibly Russell Wilson, but I believe Sam Darnold. I think they should go after Sam Darnold. So get him signed into a 1 year or short-term contract. Draft Travis Hunter. Play him on both sides of the ball. He could be on the outside of Denzel Ward. You arguably have probably the best cornerback tandem in the NFL. Travis Hunter could also play receiver. You have him, Jerry Jeudy, David Njoku. If you could bring back Nick Chubb, you automatically you already back in contention. I think Myles Garrett sees that. He could be like, okay, maybe I'll stay because we got Travis Hunter. We got Denzel Ward. You signed Sam Darnold, who had a phenomenal year in Minnesota. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Sam Darnold. I would like to see him prove it again, but at least you'd be showing Myles Garrett, hey, we're not trying to completely rebuild. We want you to stay. We drafted the best player in the draft. We signed a very good quarterback. Please stay. So I can see them drafting Travis Hunter. This is why I would want them to draft Travis Hunter because he's the best player in this draft. And of course, he's a reigning Heisman Trophy runner from this past college football season. Like I said, he had over 1,000 receiving yards, 3 interceptions, phenomenal player. This is arguably a generational talent. I expect him to play more on the defense side of the ball. Like I said, been watching Joel Clack's podcast a little bit. He says, if he can get he can see Travis getting 30 to 40 catches in the season next season, I can see that too. At least 30, 40 something catches and play majority of his snaps on the defensive side of the ball. Next up on the clock, we got the New York Giants. 3-14 record. 554 strength of schedule. Their biggest team needs are quarterback, offensive tackle, offensive guard, corner, and safety. Now the Giants, during the season they released Daniel Jones, even though they signed him to a pretty decent contract a couple years ago, they're in need of a quarterback. They drafted Malik Nabers last year. That was a big hit. That worked out for them well. They have some young players. They have really good players on defense with Dexter Lawrence, Kayvon Thibodeau, but they need a quarterback. They have Brian Daboll. They have a good coach in him. I'm glad they didn't fire him because he's a pretty good coach. They just need the right quarterback. And with Shedeur off the board, the next best quarterback in this draft is Cam Ward out of Miami, and that's my next pick. And with the third pick, and my mock draft 1.0, 2025, the New York Giants select Cam Ward, quarterback out of Miami. Cam Ward led the nation in touchdown passes. He had 40, had about 4,000 yards, I believe. He was a Heisman Trophy candidate. Like I said, Cam Ward was phenomenal last year. He pretty much carried a Miami team that was average to below, not record-wise, but their defense was horrible, and they leaned on him a lot. And him and Shedeur got that dog in them. I've been seeing videos of them talking trash, friendly competition. They train together. So I believe this will be a great pick for the New York Giants. I think Cam will fit either in Tennessee or New York and help lift the Giants. He'll have a phenomenal receiver, Malik Nabers. So I think he'll be in a pretty solid situation in New York going to the Giants. With the fourth pick, we have the New England Patriots on the clock. They finished regular season 4-13 with under a 500 strength of schedule. Their biggest needs are offensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive end, corner, and interior offensive line. Now, the Patriots seem like they hit with Drake May. They had their quarterback of the future. I think Drake May had a solid rookie year, and the only thing they could do is build around him, protect him, build that defense more. So I wouldn't be mad if they go offensive line, but with the next available player, with the player like, they got a new head coach in Mike Vrabel, former Tennessee Titans head coach. He took last year off. He was kind of coaching, but not really. But he's a defensive-minded coach, and I could see him, if Travis Hunter's not available at this pick, I could see him going after Abdul Carter, defensive end out of Penn State. Then that's my next pick. I have the New England Patriots selecting Abdul Carter, defensive end out of Penn State. This dude is a monster, arguably the best defensive player in the draft, or arguably the best overall player in the draft, really. Watching him going against Notre Dame in that semifinal playoff game, he wreaked havoc with one arm. He was injured. One of his arms was really hurt, and he dominated with one arm. And he's a phenomenal talent. I just don't see the Patriots passing up on him. They could put a duel on their defensive line, pair him with Christian Gonzalez, the corner out of Oregon they drafted a couple years ago. So they have a star corner and a star pass rusher on their defense, and they'll help Drake May a lot to get the ball back more, so he have opportunities to score. Next up, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars on the clock with the 5th pick. They finished the regular season 4-13. Their team needs a corner, safety, interior offensive line, wide receiver, and quarterback. And with my 5th pick in my 2025 mock draft 1.0, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Will Johnson, cornerback out of Michigan. Will Johnson is a tall corner, about 6'2", long. Very good corner, like I said. Now, I know in some mock drafts they have Travis Hunter going to the Jaguars, but I in my mock draft, I believe the Browns should draft Travis Hunter. And with the Jaguars needing the need for a corner, I think they should go after the next available corner, and Will Johnson, a shutdown corner. Like I said, you can argue the best cornerback in college football last year outside of Travis Hunter. And I think this would be a great pick for Jacksonville. Next up, we got the 6th pick in my 2025 NFL mock draft, the Las Vegas Raiders. Also 4-13 record. Their team needs are quarterback, receiver, running back, corner, and defensive tackle. And with my pick in my 2025 mock draft 1.0, I have the Las Vegas Raiders selecting Mason Graham, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Mason Graham on that Michigan defense, monster the past couple years, especially helping the Michigan Wolverines win a national championship a couple years ago. He's arguably the best defensive player in the draft outside of Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. I think this would be a very great pick because Pete Carroll is a defensive-minded coach, and I think he will want to add more on that defense. He's probably going to handle on the offensive side of the ball later in the draft or in the offseason. In free agency, maybe get a Russell Wilson or a Sam Darnold at quarterback or a Kirk Cousins. So with that, I see the Raiders going defense with this 6th pick in the draft, and I got them selecting Mason Graham out of Michigan. Next up, we got the New York Jets. Finished 5-12, or under a 500 record. Their biggest team needs are quarterback, defensive tackle, offensive tackle, safety, and corner. And with the 7th pick in my 2025 NFL mock draft, I have the New York Jets selecting Will Campbell, offensive tackle, LSU. Like I said, both Cam Ward-Shedeur are off the board. And I don't think the New York Jets really are in love with any other quarterback in this draft. They're probably going to go and get a quarterback in free agency. So with that, to help that quarterback out that they will get, because they're not going to bring back Aaron Rodgers, it's been reported they're going to go their separate ways. So I see the New York Jets here going offensive line to strengthen their offense. We got the 8th pick in the 2025 draft. Carolina Panthers, 5-12 record, under 500 strength of schedule. The biggest team needs are edge, defensive tackle, wide receiver, center, and quarterback. And with the 8th pick in my 2025 mock draft 1.0, I have the Carolina Panthers selecting Terrell McMillan, wide receiver out of Arizona. I got this. This would be a great pick for Carolina. Bryce young quarterback. He had a rough year, but he bounced back late in the season. They need to get Bryce Young a weapon. He's obviously the quarterback of the future. I think Terrell McMillan will be a great pick. 6'5", great receiver. He'll be a great pick for Bryce Young because you got Adam Thielen, who's older. You know how much longer he has to play, and I think this would be a great pick for Carolina and Bryce Young. Next up, we got the New Orleans Saints with the 9th pick. Their biggest team needs an edge, wide receiver, tight end, corner, defensive tackle. And with the 9th pick in my 2025 NFL mock draft, the New Orleans Saints select Chavon Ravel Jr., cornerback out of East Carolina. With the New Orleans Saints, I believe this would be a great pick. He's arguably one of the best cornerbacks in this draft. They traded Marshawn Lattimore, and this would be a great way to replace him and add on to that Saints defense, help Kellen Moore out as a first-year NFL coach. Now, they could go off offense or edge, but I got them going corner in my mock draft 1.0. Next up, we got the Chicago Bears with 10th overall pick. The biggest team needs are offensive guard, center, offensive tackle, defensive end, and wide receiver. I think they need to go offense here to protect Caleb Williams. And with that being said, with the 10th pick in my mock draft 1.0, I got the Chicago Bears selecting Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. I think that'll be a good, solid pick. He's one of the top offensive tackles in this draft. They'll always be able to help protect Caleb Williams better, who's one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the league last year. So this would be a great pick for the Chicago Bears. With the 11th pick, we have the 49ers, 6-11, down year from playing in the Super Bowl last year. The biggest team needs are corner, defensive tackle, defensive end, linebacker, and offensive guard. And with the 11th pick in my 2025 NFL mock draft 1.0, I got the 49ers selecting Jalen Walker, defensive end out of Georgia. This would be a great pick for the 49ers, strengthen that defense, especially, help Nick Bosa out. I don't know if they're going to go in free agency, but this way they don't have to spend really any much money. Jalen Walker, great defensive end, arguably the best defensive end in this draft outside of Abdul Carter. But yeah, this would be a solid pick for the 49ers. Next up, we got the Dallas Cowboys, finished 7-10. Biggest team needs are running back, offensive guard, defensive tackle, corner, and linebacker. Now, I'm not sure if the Cowboys are going to go this route, but I got them going running back. And with the 12th pick in my mock draft 1.0, I got the Dallas Cowboys selecting Ashton Jeanty, running back out of Boise State. Ashton Jeanty had a phenomenal season, Heisman Trophy candidate, finished second in Heisman Trophy voting. He rushed over 2,600 yards, over 20 rushing touchdowns. I think this would be a great pick for Dallas, help that run game because they had an awful running game. And if you want to help Dak out, you got to run the ball better. And I think this would be a solid pick for Dallas to go Ashton Jeanty out of Boise State. Next up with the Miami Dolphins with 13th pick. Their team needs are safety, defensive tackle, offensive guard, linebacker, and quarterback. I got them selecting Tyler Booker, offensive guard out of Ohio State, help protect Tua Tagovailoa. If they want to keep Tua as their franchise quarterback and him not retire early, this would be a great pick. He's one of the best offensive guard in this draft, especially on that Ohio State from the Ohio State team that won a national championship this past season. Next up, got the Indianapolis Colts with the 14th pick. The biggest team needs are interior offensive line, tight end, corner, linebacker, and safety. And with that being said, I got the Indianapolis Colts selecting Tyler Warren, tight end out of Penn State. I think this would be a great pick for Indianapolis. Help Anthony Richardson out. This would be a deciding year for him because we don't know what can he do because he's been hurt for the most of the time. When he's healthy, he hasn't been playing well. And Tyler Warren is a mismatch 6'6", great weapon, and I think he'll help that Colts offense very well. They still got the 15th pick, and the Atlanta Falcons. The biggest team needs edge, safety, corner, center, and wide receiver. And with the 15th pick, I got the Atlanta Falcons selecting Mikael Williams, defensive end out of Georgia. I think this would be a great pick. He's a hometown kid from Georgia, Columbus, Georgia. He's 6'5", 260 pounds. Now, I know he didn't have that many sacks, but that Georgia defensive line got so many great players that you really don't need one player to get 10 sacks. So I think this would be a great pick for the Falcons. Help that defense out. They got their quarterback. Now they just need to really focus more on defense. Next up, got the Arizona Cardinals. Their biggest team needs edge, defensive tackle, wide receiver, offensive guard, offensive tackle. And I got the Cardinals selecting James Pierce, defensive end out of Tennessee. I think this would be a solid pick. You know, he's arguably supposed to be the #1 overall pick, but he slid. Had not too big of a year, but I think he's still a great player. This would be a great pickup for the Arizona Cardinals. Next up, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. The 17th pick, their biggest team needs is wide receiver, tight end, offensive tackle, corner, and offensive guard. And I got the Cincinnati Bengals selecting tight end Colston Loveland out of Michigan. Outside of Tyler Warren, he's the best tight end in this draft. He can block. He's a better blocker than Tyler Warren. So this would be another weapon for Joe Burrow. If they can re-sign T. Higgins, get Jamar Chase signed, the offense could probably get back rolling. Next up, got the Seattle Seahawks with the 18th pick. I got them selecting Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle out of Texas. Is one of the team needs is offensive tackle. Quarterback wise, I don't know, quite sure what they're going to do. You know, if they want to keep Geno Smith, but they really need to strengthen that offensive line. And Kelvin Banks will be a solid pickup for Seattle. Next up, got the 19th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. One of the team needs wide receiver, offensive guard, linebacker, defensive end, offensive tackle. I got them selecting Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver out of Ohio State. He's a very solid receiver, over 1,000 yards, one of the best receivers in this draft. And I think this would be a solid pickup for Tampa Bay, especially with Mike Evans getting older, then possibly moving on from Chris Godwin. I see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going Emeka Ibuka with this pick. Next up, we got the Denver Broncos with the 20th pick. One of their team needs is tight end, wide receiver, linebacker, safety, defensive tackle. I got the Denver Broncos selecting Malachi Starks, safety out of Georgia. In my opinion, the best safety in this draft. I think this would be a solid pick for Denver, strengthening that defense, especially with the Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain. With a ball hawk like Malachi Starks, it's going to be real hard to throw in that Denver defense. Next up, on the 21st pick, the Pittsburgh Steelers. One of their team needs is quarterback, corner, running back, receiver, offensive tackle. I got them selecting Luther Burden III, wide receiver out of Missouri. This would be a great solid pick. I don't see them going quarterback in the draft because Shedeur and Cam are off the board. I think they're going to go in free agency and sign a quarterback. And with that being said, they're going to want some receivers to throw the ball to. Adding on with George Pickens, I think Luther Burden will be a solid pickup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next up, 22nd pick, my Los Angeles Chargers. One of our team needs is defensive end, defensive tackle, center, safety, and tight end. I got my Chargers selecting Shamar Stewart, defensive end, Texas A&M. I love what I seen out of him at the Senior Bowl. I watched the practices. He's a monster. He's 6'5", 280 pounds. I think this would be a solid pickup, especially with us possibly moving on for Joey Bosa, maybe losing Khalil Mack, but this dude is a monster. I'll be fine with this pick right here, the rookie out of Texas A&M. 23rd, got the Green Bay Packers. One of their team needs is corner, defensive end, defensive tackle, center, wide receiver. I got them going Benjamin Morris, cornerback out of Notre Dame. I think this would be a solid pickup, especially with them possibly moving on from Jair Alexander. So they're going to need a replacement for him. That'd be a solid pickup for Green Bay. The 24th pick in my mock draft 1.0, Minnesota Vikings. One of their team needs corner, defensive tackle, running back, offensive guard, safety. I got the Minnesota Vikings selecting Jadai Bourne, cornerback out of Texas. He won the award for best defensive back in the nation. I think that would be a solid pickup for the Vikings, especially one of their team needs that fits their team need. Next up, got the Houston Texans. One of their team needs is wide receiver, offensive guard, defensive tackle, corner, offensive tackle. I got the Texans selecting Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. I think that would be a great pickup, especially with a team need right there. Next up, got the Los Angeles Rams. I got the Los Angeles Rams selecting Josh Cornell, offensive tackle out of Oregon. Rams, I don't think they obviously not going to draft the quarterback because they're going to need to find one in the free agency, especially if they move on from Matthew Stafford. But I think they're going to strengthen their offensive line. Well, the next pick, the 27th pick in my mock draft, the Baltimore Ravens. One of their team needs is offensive tackle, wide receiver, defensive end, offensive guard, safety. I got the Ravens going offensive line, selecting Ahmad Mendenbooth, offensive tackle out of Missouri. Great pickup, especially to protect Lamar Jackson. Keep your two-time league MVP upright off his back. Next up, we got the Detroit Lions with the 28th pick. I got them selecting Mike Green, defensive end out of Marshall. I seen him just like Stewart at the Senior Bowl. Mike Green has looked a monster. He led the nation in sacks, I believe. I think this would be a great pickup for the Lions. He could be on the other side from Aiden Hutchinson and to make that defense even more scary. Next up, we got the Washington Commanders with the 29th pick. I got them selecting Donovan Jackson, offensive guard, Ohio State. Help protect their franchise quarterback. And Jaden Daniels, who had a phenomenal rookie year, 1 game away from the Super Bowl. I think this would be a great pickup for the Commanders. With the 30th pick in my mock draft, I got the Buffalo Bills selecting Walter Nolan, defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. This pick, I went based off of team need, especially the Buffalo Bills needing a defensive tackle, wide receiver, edge, corner, safety. And I think Walter Nolan is a beast. He's transferred from Texas A&M, and I think he fits that Buffalo defense. Next up, got the Kansas City Chiefs. I got them selecting Tyleik Williams, defensive tackle out of Ohio State. This would be a great team need because defensive tackle is one of their team needs. He could be right there next to Chris Jones to help strengthen that Kansas City defensive line, and get back to the Super Bowl. And lastly, we got the Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. I got the Eagles selecting Jahad Campbell, linebacker, Alabama. One of the reasons is because that's one of the team needs. Zach Bond, they probably might move off of him because he's going to get paid. He had an All-Pro, first-team All-Pro. So I think this would be a great fit. Replace him with a rookie who's phenomenal at Alabama. Howard Roseman is, in my opinion, the best general manager in all of football. It's not even close. I think this would be a great, solid pick for the Philadelphia Eagles, going Jahad Campbell out of Alabama. But yeah, that is my mock draft 1.0. Again, this is based off of what I think each team should do. The next one will be, I think the next one, where I believe the teams will probably go and their route. What I believe from what I'm hearing, based off the NFL Combine, I'm going to go based off of what I believe what they're going to do. And I may do some trades. I don't know yet, but either my 2.0 or my 3.0, I'm going to decide on that. But I appreciate each one of y'all tuning in for another episode of Cameron Sports Podcast. This has been Cameron Lindsay with my mock draft 2025 1.0. I appreciate each one of y'all tuning in. Make sure to follow me on all my social medias. Leave a comment, like, share, subscribe. Help me get to 300 subscribers by the end of the year. And I appreciate each one of y'all watching. I'll catch y'all next time.